ceremonial meeting where we will transfer the gavel to the newly elected city mayor and city commissioners. So welcome to everybody. I'm so pleased to see all the families and friends here tonight. It's really important to have that support system as we transfer and go into a new era of public service. Good evening. I'm Alice Norris. I was the mayor in 2010.
James Nacita, City Commissioner.
Doug Neely, currently the President of the Commission.
Rocky Smith, Oregon City Commission.
Would you please stand and join me in flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is an evening that's filled with symbols, and I think these symbols are very important to the traditions of Oregon City. The gavel that I will be passing on in a few minutes is made from the Abernathy elm, which used to stand down by the river shore. It is a piece of the sapling that Mrs. Abernathy, this is George Abernathy, who was the first territorial governor, brought to plant by her homestead, and it had to be felled due to disease, and I think it was 2001. Yeah, and so many artists took pieces of wood to make treasures for the community, and artist Jim Hall created this for us. So that's one of the traditions that we will be passing on. First of all, we have on our agenda citizen comment. So this is an opportunity for anyone that wishes to speak to us can do that for 3 minutes on a non-agenda item. Do we have anyone lined up to speak?
Yeah,
we do. Dave Prideaux be first, followed by William Gifford. Yes, and when you come to the microphone, please give your name and the city in which you reside. If you reside in the county, well, I just say outside the borders. So.
Dave Prideaux, Oregon City. I just wanted to clear up a misconception, I think, that has been in the newspapers and other places about those of us that supported Kathy Roth and some of the issues around that. I think some people think that there's a group of people that are anti-development, anti-urban renewal, and that's not correct. I think the main issue is the right to vote. Citizens have a right to an opinion, to speak, to vote when very, very, very important decisions are placed before them. And I noticed that in the current Oregon City News, Dan Holliday says this group is anti-development, anti-growth, anti-car, anti-people crowd. And just like to set the record straight that I think we have more in common than the polarization has presented. Thank you.
Thank you. William, followed by Tom Guile.
Madam Mayor, probably for the last time, and City Commissioners, my name is William Gifford, and I live in Oregon City, and I'm going to put on two different hats. First hat is Land Use Chair for Hillendale Neighborhood Association, and I just want to make a point out that recently Metro has been doing some very nice cleanup work of Newell Canyon, and very pleased to see that just a block or two away from our house, that they put up some nice signs saying this is an area that's to be used for hiking and for nature watching, and that it's being patrolled and monitored. And I don't know who's doing that, but I'm happy that they are. And it's nice to have that area cleaned up, and hopefully we'll be able to use that. I know that the chief and I have talked about that earlier, and it'll be nice to have that area as more recreation for our citizens. The second, but there are restrictions. It says no camping or homesteading. I'm not sure what Dr. Abernathy would have said about that. But yes, okay. And the second thing is I'll put on a different hat as an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce, and we wanted to welcome one of the newest businesses in Oregon City is the Bottle Drop, which is only the second such institution in the state, and should make things much more facile for our citizens to do their bottle returns. And just want to welcome Bottle Drop to the city.
Thank you.
Stay put.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. My name's Tom Guile of Oregon City. Just wanted to report to you that we have recently had elections for the Citizens Involvement Council. I was reelected as chair with Larry Hamlin as vice chair, and you get the secretarial duties again, William. We just held our first meeting here this week. First time it was ever recorded on or taped on Granicus, thanks to Nancy Ide and group, and it is available now streaming, I believe, on the city's website. So if somebody wants to watch what happens with our Citizen Involvement Council, you can see it there. After you get all settled in your offices, the new commissioners and mayor will come back with a full report of what's been going on with the Citizens Involvement Council. So with that,
And invite them to attend any of our meetings.
oh, that's right. That was the other thing I said to William. One of the things I proposed in December is we would like to give all the new mayor and the commissioners a victory tour, so to speak, and invite you, like Madonna or somebody who might want to do, and come to each one of the neighborhood association meetings, and throughout the year, just one, and meet the neighbors. And it's not for a political meeting of discussion of subjects, more of just meet the citizens in each of those neighborhoods. So you're invited officially. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great year.
Thank you. The last speaker, John Williams.
Nice to be last. I'm a little discombobulated here because I thought you might be swearing in the new commissioners before the meeting, before this time, but so I'm really speaking to the incoming commission.
If you'd like to wait, we can do that later.
Well, I'm here.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's right.
Wasted all the time. This year, I hope that the commission will attempt to craft the necessary legislation to plug a loophole, that I call a loophole, in the Oregon City Charter. Our charter requires a popular vote on all bonds issued by the city, has up till now. But for some unusual oversight, back when that change was made back in the late 90s, they didn't include urban renewal. And it's my belief and the belief of some other citizens that probably it would be best to align the city charter and have you vote on all bonds, whether they're issued by the city or by the Urban Renewal Agency. We have a democratic process to build a library, and you have to go to vote and you have to acquire $10 million by bonds. I'm not sure that we see the difference between that and building condos or malls, and for sometimes not just maybe projected to be $30 million. What the difference is, why a particular area of the city gets subscribed away from the voting democratic process. It doesn't make sense. In fact, it didn't make sense for this building, because normally one would have to go to bonds or other financing methods to build a city hall, but because of its location, happens to be a few blocks inside the urban renewal boundary, and so used urban renewal funds, and the people did not get to cast a vote on a $6, $7, or $8 million expenditure, whatever it was. It just seems fair that that should happen, and I would like to urge the 2011 Commission to submit a charter correction to plug the loophole to the voters this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who came prepared to speak who has not yet had a chance? Thank you. We'll close citizen comment and proceed with our agenda. The first thing on our agenda is the oath of office. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce our city judge. The Honorable Lorraine McNeese doesn't get to join us very often because she actually holds court in the old City Hall, which has now been changed and renovated. So the Honorable.
I'm chair now.
Well, yes, it's very nice. The Honorable Lorraine McNeese will administer the oath of office, first of all, to our new mayor.
This is truly a pleasure for me. It gives me an opportunity to thank the outgoing mayor and councilors for their service, and we have the pleasure of swearing in the new one. So would you hold that, sir?
Thank you.
Would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Doug Neely,
I, Doug Neely,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United
and
States
of the state of Oregon,
and of the state of Oregon,
and that I will do, and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of mayor of Oregon City
of mayor of Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof. As I'm signing these, I want to make a comment. My brother often has said to me my penmanship improved until I was in the 4th grade and remained constant thereafter.
While Mayor Neely is making his way around here so we can have the transfer of the gavel, I'd like to say something.
Can I make a comment at this point? Thank you. I've had the pleasure of serving with 3 different mayors over the time that I've been on the city commission. It's been a great experience. Dan Fowler, John Williams, who's here, and I spent my full 4 years under your incumbency, and I think we did a lot of great things in that period. I don't think Dan Fowler's here, but Eddie Alec was there when the first time I came on the commission, and I think I had probably more fun at that time than I've had at any other time with you and I there, and I really appreciate it. I wanted to thank very much Alice Norris. She's been a tremendous mayor. I've been with her 6 of the 8 years that she served as mayor of Oregon City. But it's been a pleasure to work with all of the members of the city, all of the city commissions that I've served on. And it's going to be an honor also to serve with the new commission with the 2 new members that are going to be sworn in. And I want to thank you, and I appreciate the support that I got from the electorate as well. Thank you.
Right.
I can't let it go by that I think we've got some of the greatest staff in the metro region. I've heard specific comments about specific ones from leaders in other municipalities saying, we wish we had those people. And we wouldn't be able to do the things we've done, been able to do, without the staff that we have. And I think it's really the greatest combination of managers that we may have had in the time that I've served. And I look forward to working with them as well over these next 4 years. I just encourage them all to stay on for the next 4 years.
As Mayor Neely is coming to, and we'll do the gavel exchange, I want to talk about a couple of things. First, it's interesting because the old mayor essentially goes out of office on 12/01 on January 1st, and the new mayor doesn't actually have power until this moment, until he is sworn. So we actually have a overlapping. If we had a crisis, we probably would have called in the judge, and there would be an emergency swearing. But other than that, I've never heard the judge swear, but I also one reason that we do it this way is that it's really quite important, I think, in our country and in our city that we have the seamless transition of government and of the responsibilities. And so I will hand this gavel to Doug in a moment. You can sit if you like, 'cause I might talk longer.
I'm going to stand here and wait.
Okay. I want to talk about the confidence that I have in handing the gavel both to the mayor and to the new city council, the new city commission. Doug will become the 4th popularly elected mayor. The first one was Dan Fowler, the next one was John Williams, the third one would be me, and then Doug will be the fourth. We changed our form of mayors ahead of that, and we have one more mayor in that Doug introduced, Mayor Don Anderson is there in the back. So it's pretty incredible, I think, to have 5 mayors in the room. 2, 3, 4, 5. So appreciate all of you being here, and I respect all that has come before, because each of us stands on the work and the shoulders of those who've come before us. Doug is smart. He's very experienced. He's lived in Zimbabwe, and he may be the only mayor of Oregon City that has a PhD. I don't know, but he's a college professor. He's never been too tall to stoop down low to help. I have picked up cigarette butts with him on the city cleanup. I've been with him as he's taught in a classroom of students, and then I watched him got away while he flipped burgers. I think that he will lead a very strong team and a very well-educated team, so I have confidence in that. We have Rocky, who's, I think, didn't you begin volunteering as a toddler in the community? Rocky brings very unique experiences and holds very special niche in what you bring to the community. You, of course, are an expert in the arts. The only one here really with that. You're the only educator on the council. You may know more about the history and heritage of Oregon City than anybody on the council here. And you have become and always been, I think, a real watchdog for those rare and wonderful treasures that Oregon City holds so dear. So that's one of the things that you bring. And then Jim, although a newcomer, has certainly a huge passion for Oregon City that I've discovered as I worked with you, and that your care for its welfare certainly shines through in all that you do. You have introduced us to many resources that you have in design and in city planning and city landscape, the ideas that have certainly helped broaden my thinking and hopefully all of our thinking. Your attention to detail and your planning background has certainly helped shape our city codes and our cityscape. So then Kathy Roth will come on the council. She's a longtime resident with very deep roots in the community and many grassroots experiences that are very different than the first three. She's brings solid management and financial credentials to the team, and I think that will be great. Our number one goal, as you see on the board for 2010, has been to build a sustainable future, and Kathy's background and interest in environmental and sustainability issues, I think, will really fill in the piece that we're putting together here as a puzzle. So I think that will be great. Betty Mumm also has deep roots in the community. I mean, it's really interesting, I think, that 4 out of the 5 city commissioners have been here, more than 30 years? I think that's pretty interesting. And then with Betty, we also now have 2 members of the city council who come from major hospital systems. I think that's also very interesting. Betty Mumm brings her strong background and liaison with the business community, having served 2 terms as board chair of the Chamber of Commerce and on many other community activities. I think I call you the mother of the CIC, Citizen Involvement Committee, when we had to cut because of budgeting our staff. You put that team back together again, so thank you for doing that. And your leadership in the community, from PTA to Adopt a Family to the city's Transportation Advisory Committee, will bring, I think, that level of expertise. So I hope you can see that I think the best city commissions are those that are made up of very diverse interests, people who can work together and bring down the barriers and decide how to move the city forward to the vision that you all share, which of course is a love for this great community that we have. So with that, I think it's time to pass on the gavel. I've made so many goodbye speeches, I don't think I need to make another one. I trust that you will all find the love, or the support, and the success that we've found in the last 8 years. And I have every confidence in handing you the gavel, Mr. Mayor, that you will do well. And I wish you great success and good fortune, good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I believe that now we have 2 seats to fill on the commission with the oath of office. And the first one will be Kathy Roth for position number 1.
Will you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Kathy Roth,
I, Kathy Roth,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the State of Oregon,
and of the State of Oregon,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of City Commissioner
of City Commissioner
of Oregon City
of Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof.
Congratulations.
The next position to be filled is position number 4 with the swearing in of Betty Mum.
Yes. I, Betty Love,
Betty Mum,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the State of Oregon,
and of the State of Oregon,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of City Commissioner
of City Commissioner
of Oregon
of
City
Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Before we proceed on to the next item, I was asked how, I guess I was given the opportunity of deciding on the seating up here. And I believe what you're going to see in a moment is the seating in terms of the commission positions. We have position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4. Position 1 is to your right. Position 2 is Rocky Smith's office. Jim Nacita, position 3.
You got one.
I'm going backwards? I'm going backwards. To my right is Kathy Roth, and then position 2, is that right? You're 3. In any case, those positions may change. Never mind, it didn't work that way. So my first pre-mayor decision was, I messed up on, apparently. In any case, Kathy Roth is in position 1, and Betty is in position 4, and the 2 positions that are next to me, one of them is going to may be switched around. I have no idea, because we're going to have the election of the president for 2011, and we can open up either for nominations, or somebody could put a motion forward for the position of commission president.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Nacita for president of the commission for 2011.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
In any case, that makes it very easy, because he doesn't have to change positions. The commission president will be on my right. We also have various positions that we fill.
Before, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got to swear in the president, excuse me.
I, James J. Nacita,
I, James J. Nacita,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States
the state of Oregon,
and of the state of Oregon,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of Commission President of Oregon City
of Commission President of Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Oops. Obviously, we haven't trained our two new commissioners in the arts of long-winded political speeches. So I'm going to make a speech. It won't be long-winded. It'll be very brief. I just wanted to thank Mayor Norris and Commissioner West for their service. And I also wanted to thank those people who, during the past election, stepped up and made democracy work by being candidates, even though they might not have won. It was a very valuable contribution for these people to commit their time and their energy and demonstrate their commitment to Oregon City by putting forth the debate and the issues and made democracy work here in Oregon City. So I'd like to point out a few people who are here. Some of them aren't. In addition to Doug, there were two mayoral candidates. Paul Edgar, why don't you stand up? I'd like to acknowledge you. And James Hamilton there in the back wave. I'd like to acknowledge your service also. And then I guess just one more Dan Holliday. I don't see Dan here, but Dan was in the race with Kathy and Daphne, and he put in a very strong performance. So I just wanted to thank him for making democracy work. I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a little heart problem last night.
Oh, sorry to hear that. I forgot to mention Norm Stewart as well. So we'll give our best to Norm. I'll have to be in contact with him and thank him too. 2 years from now, Rocky and I will face that, and I guess if we haven't earned challengers in our first 2 years, we can work real hard to provoke some challengers for 2012. So look forward to working with everybody, and thanks for all coming out.
Okay, with that, there are various boards and committees that elected officials serve on. I had requested our current commissioners here which they would prefer to work on. Many of them chose to work on the same ones, and I went through a selection process that was, I think, agreeable. I'll come to it. Well, I guess here we go. Excuse me a minute. Here we go. The Metro Policy Advisory Committee, it's an advisory committee to the Metro regional government. Each county has 3 cities representing the counties representing the cities, I should say, on the Metro Policy Advisory Committee. The first largest city, the second largest city, and then the smaller cities select a member to represent the city. There's also a county commissioner that serves on the Metro Advisory Committee, as well as other groups. Lake Oswego is the largest. Oregon City is the second largest city, so it has an automatic seat. And I'm appointing myself to represent the commission on Metro, and Kathy Roth will serve as the alternate. The South Fork Water Board, the three people that I've selected, Rocky Smith. Rocky Smith has served well on that board since he's come on the commission 2 years ago, and I think it's important that we have continuity there. Betty Mumm, and then myself. There's a couple of these, and I'll mention as I go on. I put myself on them only because we're not sure on some of these at what time these committees will meet, and several of the people on the commission, time of a meeting is kind of crucial. So I'm temporarily putting myself on the Portland-Milwaukee Light Rail Committee, and temporarily putting myself on the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee. That group may be reorganizing its structure, and we may not know right away what its time schedule is going to be. But after that, I think we may do some reassignments. Commissioner Kathy Roth will serve on the Main Street Board Liaison. Commissioner James Nicita will serve on the Willamette Falls Heritage Area Coalition. I'll serve as alternate to that. For the Economic Development Liaison, that will be Commissioner Kathy Roth as well. The Oregon City Tourism Council, Commissioner Rocky Smith, I think the best qualified to serve in that group among us. And then finally, the Willamette Falls Access Liaison is myself. Actually, our city manager and our assistant to the city manager also serves on that. We're going through a process in terms of bylaws and so forth with that group, and the reason I've appointed myself to that is I've been serving in that capacity, and that process has gone on quite a bit, and so I imagine it's going to come to an end in the not too distant future. It is, I think, a temporary body. If it's not a temporary body, we might assign somebody else to be that on that position. We also have appointments to various. Apparently, is that at the end? Actually, all right. Okay. I guess we're going to. We got after this piece. We've got the communications. I'll be announcing appointments that I made to various citizens committees towards the end. So. First of all, from the city manager.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just have a few things this evening. I think most of you probably remembered this sheet that I handed out in our preparation for the goal setting. And I think when we handed out, we suggested a week, and then there was a holiday, and a whole bunch of other things have happened in your life since then. Just wanted to refresh your memory that we could sure use your suggestions on those. Staff, we're trying to prepare materials and kind of do our homework for the retreat. So if you do have any ideas that you'd like to share with us, we'd like to have those as soon as you can get them to us. Also, I want to announce that effective January 4th, we did close on the purchase of the Kanema area park property. We've been working on that for several months, mostly with the commission in closed session. It's been purchased, just as a reminder, using available Metro Natural Areas local share funds from the 2006 regional bond measure. The 5.75 acre parcel was purchased for $120,000 plus closing costs. The intent of the purchase is for the connectivity within the Kanema area and preservation and protection of open space in Oregon City, and this lines nicely with the former Commission's goal for enhancing the livability of our community. Also, the Jug Handle Project, which is probably one of the biggest in the city's history. That project goes out to bid on Monday, and there will be updated details on our website. On the homepage, actually, there's a link there where you can click on. And then I want to ask Nancy Krushauer if she can give us a short update on the slide activity. I know you've been getting a lot of emails from me on that.
Yes.
And I'm gonna give you another one tomorrow, and it's even going to have a little PDF on it with the slide area. And then we're going to be trying to get that information on our website. But This is something that is right now is not doesn't appear to be an imminent catastrophe, but it does. It is a natural phenomenon that can go a different direction, and so without warning, actually. And so I just wanted you to know that we're coordinating all of our efforts with our first responders and really trying to stay on top of this. So no matter which way it turns out, that we'll be prepared. So Nancy, if you could give them a short update.
Certainly. This is the Forest Ridge Apartments over off of Beaver Creek Road, just west of Highway 213. And in 2005, part of that apartment complex sits on an ancient landslide, and back in 2005 it was reactivated by very heavy rains, persistent rains, as well as some stormwater management problems. So at that time, we learned a lot about the slide. We had a lot of experts out there. The property owners have judiciously cooperated with the city and done what was in the best interests of the tenants. After that time, there were quite a few improvements that occurred on the site, including some improvements to our water line that serves that property that we felt were important to protect the health and safety of the public and property. Now, in the last several weeks, that slide has again reactivated. It's likely from the heavy early December rains and perhaps the drier, cooler summer we had, wetter, cooler summer we had. We have been out there every day since we were notified of the recent earth movement, and we'll continue to monitor it. I've provided a fairly detailed brief for the city manager, and he'll pass that on to the commission. And I'm always available for phone calls from anybody from the public, and we'll try to post some things on our website as well. As the city manager said, at this point, we're looking at creep of the overall slide and then some surface movement at the toe of the slide. And those are things that we've seen in the past at the site. There doesn't appear to be any imminent danger to the buildings or the residents on the property. But like I said, we've been out there with fire department, PD, and we'll continue to monitor it regularly and be prepared to assist in any way to the property owner as we can. The property owner is also responding in a very positive manner, and having his consultants get out there and take a look, and they've already started to do some temporary mitigation at the site.
Thank you, Nancy. And then just more on a personal note, a professional note, I'm really excited about our new commission and all of our elected officials. I have grown very confident in the last 8 months that I've served here in Oregon City that you have a professional team that's ready to serve whatever direction the new commission sets for us, and we're excited about those opportunities, and we have a lot of challenges, but I think we're all up to it together, and I'm looking forward to the experience. So that's all we have tonight.
We have various citizens committees that we make appointments to. I've got appointments to make to most of them, and the process that I used was to have the committees themselves sit down and interview the applicants and make recommendations to me. I was at almost all of those interviews, and at this point I've accepted all the recommendations that I've received from the committees. The first one that we'll talk about is the library board. There are 2 positions available, and we're appointing Claire Kellogg as the out-of-city representative. We have 2 out-of-city representatives, and one of them was open this year, and that's Claire Kellogg, who has vast library experience, and Don Wright as the city representative, and he has experience in many areas. To the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, we're reappointing Brian Wyatt, and then we're also appointing Steve Orr and Brian Burke, who are going to be new members. The Historic Review Board, there were 3 positions that were open. These positions were specific in their nature. One had to be filled by an architect, one by a representative of the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association because of the conservation district and in John McLaughlin's plat here, and also a representative from the Kenema Neighborhood Association. The three people that held those positions reapplied. There were two other applications, but none of them were filled the criteria that were associated with those two other applications. There's some more general ones that will be coming available in 2 years, and I hope the people that applied will consider applying at that particular time. But the appointments are reappointments of Cynthia Toll, who to the McLaughlin seat, Ken Basinger to the Kenema seat, and then Ton Eisland as the architect representative. Now, we've had real troubles keeping that seat filled, and I believe Todd has agreed to serve on it for 6 more months. Any architects that are interested in getting involved in evaluating the work and restoration of historic properties that go through the Historic Review Committee, I'd really encourage them to make applications to that particular position. The next one of them is a reappointment, and that is Betty Schaafsma, and then we're also appointing Mike Mitchell as a neighborhood representative. That is a position that requires a neighborhood representative. He is in the Caulfield neighborhood. There's a couple of other appointments that are not on this list. The Planning Commission met on Monday. We have, I believe it was 7 applicants to the Planning Commission. We've actually been running short. We've only had 5 members for some time on the Planning Commission. We're supposed to have 7. Well, we've had tremendous interest build up in that particular area. One of them who, in terms of the application, seemed like a real good candidate, happened to be ill. So I requested the Planning Commission to consider the people that were there and to make appointments of 2 or 3 people so we could make those appointments at this particular meeting, and then make decisions on the remaining people at a subsequent meeting. They did so. And they recommended 2 people who I'm appointing. Both of them have extensive planning experience. One is Denise McGriff, and the other is Paul Espy. Denise McGriff and Paul Espy actually earlier on were both on our in our planning department at that particular time. The other appointments I hope to make at the very next meeting. I think the decision will be made. The Planning Commission, I just wanted to make a statement. The Planning Commission is probably as hard a working a commission as the City Commission is. They have many things come through their docket. They spend at least 6 or 7 hours preparing for each and every one of those meetings. It's a tremendous time commitment, and it's a board. I say commission. It's really a decision-making body. They make decisions, and on certain land use situations. If, in fact, somebody wants to appeal those decisions, they can appeal it to the City Commission. The City Commission, in its own right, can actually request certain decisions coming out of the Planning Commission to come to them. That doesn't happen very often. So it's a very hard-working body, and we're so pleased to have so many people, so many qualified people that have applied for those positions, and I'm making a couple of other appointments. There's 3 bodies that I've not made appointments for because they're not going to be meeting for a while, and we have our budget committee, and I'll be making appointments at a later date for those positions. And then we have two boards that actually grant monies that come from funding sources. One is the Metro Enhancement Committee. We get monies from a tipping fee of dumps that happen at our Metro transfer station. Those come into the city, and a portion of that money then is allocated as grants to people who made applications for things that enhance our community. And I'll be making appointments in that particular committee a bit later. Then we have also the Oregon City Civic Improvement Trust. We do have a 4% tax on our single hotel that we have here in Oregon City, and those monies then are allocated to things that promote as grants to things that promote tourism. They'll be meeting later on in the year, and I'll maybe be making those appointments later. So those are the appointments I've made at this point. I'm going to make another announcement. It's a rather sad one. A week ago last Friday, Lila Kelly passed away. Those of you that, many of you will know Keith and Lila Kelly. They were volunteers that worked on the McLaughlin Promenade for many years. There is going to be a memorial service at the Church of the Nazarene on Friday at 11 o'clock. A death is always untimely, but the Parks and Recreation was developing a plaque to be put on the promenade for both of them. There is a representation of that plaque has already been made, and that it'll actually be shown at the memorial service. But unfortunately, the actual plaque won't be in place, and it's too bad that Lila passed away before that happened. She was a tremendous asset to our committee, as was Keith, and they'll be terribly missed. I would just mention that they were presented the Oregon City's Citizen of the Year Award, I believe, in 2004. I don't know if Alice is still here, but I believe that's when the award was presented at the Chamber's dinner. Did tremendous work for us in the city. With that, I think that's all I have. So, any other commissioners have a report?
I would defer to Commissioner Smith if he has.
Commissioner Smith is on the floor.
No big announcements, but I just wanted to say a couple words. Tonight is an exciting night, and look forward to working with this group. I've known most of these people up here for quite a long time, and I thank the Mayor Alice Norris, who's leaving us, and I've worked with her a long time, and I'm sure she'll continue to work with us in Oregon City. And Daphne, who has put so much time in, especially on Main Street and other great projects in Oregon City. I really look forward to working with Doug and seeing him as mayor. I know that he'll do an incredible job. He has such a passion for Oregon City, and he's one of there's not many politicians that you can say are in it just because they feel like they should do it, and I don't ever really see him trying to go beyond or trying to get a lot of recognition out of it. He just truly believes that giving the time is important, and you see him at so many events, probably more than you see even the rest of us, and he's always there. And so I really am excited about that. I've worked with Doug probably since I was in high school at the Carnegie Center. Occasionally made him crappy cups of coffee. I was a horrible barista, but I don't think that he ever complained. And occasionally I painted his face.
Your face.
I occasionally painted his face a few times, which was quite an improvement. So maybe I can do that. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to work with you, and I think you're going to do a great job. Kathy, I've actually just got to know really well in the last couple years, and I went to school with her son, who graduated, a couple years ahead of me at Oregon City High School. Was very involved in the drama department, and so I've kind of got to reconnect with them in the last couple years, and so that's been really fun. And so I look forward to working with you. I think we share a lot of the same thoughts on our passion for history and Oregon City in general. Jim, I've been happy to get to know you and as a friend and as a colleague, and I you know, it's amazing that someone who is an outsider can kind of morph into someone who is just as passionate about Oregon City as those of us that have lived here all our lives. So I really think that you've made a huge impact. You know, some of the big things that come to mind, like the police department, which was what, you know, we both kind of came in really wanting to work towards getting to a better place, and I think that's happened, and I really appreciate your work on that. Betty, I can't, this is going to be fun, and she's going to sit right next to me, so I don't know how that's going to go, but...
We don't know, do we?
We don't know, but it'll be fun. I've worked with Betty on a lot of things, too. When Betty worked at Willamette Falls, worked together a lot on the Teddy Bear Parade when that was kind of underneath the Children's Center of Clackamas County, and so that's when I really think I started getting to know you really well. You know, Betty is the kind of... I just think this is going to be a great group because these are people that will put in the time, and I've seen them put in the time on so many things. And I appreciate Betty because occasionally as a city commissioner you're asked to speak at various events, and I've given a couple speeches, believe it or not, in the last couple years. One of which I think she was one of maybe 3 or 4 people in the audience. So, yes, and you right there, I appreciate it. What's her name again? I forgot.
Faith.
On her birthday,
Faith.
she showed up
granddaughter.
to listen to a speech. And so I appreciate that. So anytime I have a speech to a non-audience, I'll make sure that you're there so
Yes.
you have some support.
Just invite me.
Yeah,
I'll bring
all right.
the people.
Thank you. This will be fun.
It's going to be great.
That's all.
Thank you very much, Rocky. James, Commissioner CAC.
As I'll say ditto to everything Rocky just said, and I would like to add to that my appreciation of Commissioner Mom and Commissioner Roth coming on board to the commission. I've gotten to know Betty over my past 2 years, and she's very good at not mincing words and giving me reality checks on a lot of stuff, and that's always a healthy thing.
You're welcome.
And Commissioner Roth, I've come to know over the course of the campaign, and someone once described Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one of her Harvard Law School classmates, described her as, quote unquote, scary smart. And as I've watched Kathy over the past couple of months in the campaign, and her interest in devouring city reports, and jumping onto the computer to research information and issues, it's been just a thrill. And I think as we move forward, especially on our upcoming budget, both of these individuals have a tremendous capacity to analyze and to get the big picture and seeing how all the parts work together. And I think they were going to be very quick studies, much quicker than I was certainly. And I look forward to working with them both in the months ahead. I have some other things aside from that I wanted to raise. One is I sat down at the dais tonight, and I don't know who gave me this little present, but I would like to meet them afterwards to thank them personally. Someone left on the table for me, I even know the name of this. Mr. Gifford? Well, thank you. These are 2 little buttons, and they are of what's known as the Sicilian Trinacria. It's a symbol, centuries old in Sicily. It's basically a face, and out of the face comes 3 bent legs, all in the same orientation, and it almost looks like a fan. And it symbolizes the island of Sicily. I'm half Sicilian. because Sicily is a kind of like a three-pointed island, and the Sicilian Trinacria symbolizes that. I've been to Sicily twice, and each time I've gone, I've really, really, really been tempted to get a tattoo of the Sicilian Trinacria, but each time I almost thought it looked like the symbol of some satanic cult, so I never actually got the tattoo of the Sicilian Trinacria. But this will allow me to wear the Sicilian Trinacria in various private and public functions. So I will thank Mr. Gifford for this, and I will put this on. Secondly, we had an adoption of the agenda item that I wanted to add a couple of things to. And we didn't go through it, but I'll use the commissioner communication opportunity to do that. And that's lesson to the new commissioners. You can do that. You can use your commissioner communication to bring up stuff if you want. Two items. First, Mayor-elect and now Mayor Neely sent out an email today that I'd kind of like to expand upon a little and kind of cement it with the Commission's blessing for our first work session. Because we're kind of on a timeline, and it regards a couple of charter changes. Commissioner Neely mentioned something of interest to him, which was changing the charter to adopt a runoff, a primary and a runoff in Oregon City. I think I can anticipate where this is coming from. I understand that in one of your elections there were three, and there was not a 50% winner on that.
Yeah. That was true of Mayor Norris in her first election as well.
And then we had another one this year where we had three kind of splitting the vote three ways, about 30% apiece, 33% apiece. So there's that. I'm very interested in having that as part of a discussion for a charter amendment. I, through the course of last year, raised the issue of an amendment to change our charter to have the City Commission be the entity that hires the city attorney. I've sent out in my commissioner communication this afternoon a chart I made up in the research that out of the major cities in Metro Portland, only Tualatin and Oregon City have the city manager hire the city attorney, and the three counties and Metro, it's all by the council, and I think there's an argument for us being consistent with other cities in that regard. And the third item was not mentioned in Mayor Neely's email, but it has been mentioned tonight by former Mayor Williams and has been a topic of some activism over the past at least 2 years, if not before, probably three and a half years, which is an amendment to change the charter to allow a vote on urban renewal bond issuance like we do for general obligation bonds. Each one of these proposals, I think, has variations on them that could be discussed. I think...
This is at a work session?
Yes, and the reason it's coming up now is last month I emailed our city recorder, Mrs. Ide, about what the timeline was for getting something on the May ballot. And I think it's as early as mid-February or early February, these things have to be wrapped up and submitted for all of the tests they have to go through. So I'd like to get some kind of nod. I don't know if this requires a head nod or an actual vote. What's that?
For a work session?
For it to add something to the work session. So I guess I'll turn both to the city attorney and the city manager, because it is a code prescribed job that the city attorney helps us out to write these things.
I don't think there's a problem. I probably ought to be at the work session,
Yes.
because I'd like to go through with you what the alternatives are so I can draft something. But it's going to be easy enough to draft once I get your direction.
Okay.
I do have a legal question, if I may. The bonding issue, that would have to go through the Urban Renewal Agency to be put on the ballot, or can the
It's a
city
charter
commission do
amendment.
it?
You can
Okay,
do it straight through the charter.
okay, very good.
So, and I've done some background research on the charter amendments, so I'll send you everything on various, the way other cities have had the language in their charters and codes. And then the second item I'd like to raise is also relates to urban renewal, and that deals with the upcoming interviews for the urban renewal board that this commission will be making, and in particular the questions that are asked. I can't remember how we've done this in the past, so maybe Dan Drentlaw or someone else might be able to remind us, or Mayor Neely. The questions that we asked the first time when I interviewed, and Rocky Smith, we do have that list of questions. And I can't remember whether we had to read off those questions or whether we could make up our own questions or kind of free-form questions depending upon the candidate. And I just wanted to get a sense of how uniform and rigid the questioning of each candidate has to be. And I think that since that's going to be coming up next week, I'd kind of like to resolve that tonight. I have some questions I'd like to ask that are not on the list from last time, and I just want to know how we go about.
My opinion is that you have a lot of flexibility and latitude on what questions you ask and even how you go about asking them. As a matter of just general principle, you might want to consider trying to ask all of the candidates a basic set of questions and sort of follow that. Sometimes that will lead you to other follow-up questions that haven't been, predetermined, and I think that is acceptable too. I don't see why you would have it. It's just that you need to make sure that candidates all have a fair shake at the process, and as long as you do that, I think you're fine.
Okay. And similarly related to the upcoming interviews for Urban Renewal Commission candidates, I noticed when the mayor had asked for the candidate applications to be sent out, and they were sent out. And I noticed, and someone can correct me on this, I think there might be an issue we need to address in that I noticed, especially in the at-large collection of candidates, those who had submitted in writing on hard copy seemed to have an extra question about like what they were interested in. And some of these had fairly detailed answers, whereas those who had responded strictly by the online just had name and data and some background information without that extra essay. Now, for the candidates I saw with the essay, that was really helpful information. Yeah. But I think all the candidates should have that opportunity to, describe their interests and background.
And that was also the same problem existed for the citizens committees as well.
Okay. So I'd like to see if we can get that cleared up, so everybody's coming in on equal footing next week.
I think we can do that. The city recorder has already done it, it looks like. So that's good. One other suggestion too: if any of our elected officials have questions that you would like us to include on the actual printed guide, so that you have that in front of you for the meeting, please submit those to us as soon as you can. And if we get them tomorrow or the next day, it shouldn't be any problem to go ahead and include those on a printed form. So we will do that.
Okay, great.
Do our two new commissioners, if they want to speak, realize that they can push a button? Even though I fail to read sometimes. Are there?
How's that?
Oh, am I?
Kathy Roth
no.
is
Nancy.
Nancy, the show. She's.
Never mind.
Oh, you're showing up.
I'm trying to withdraw it, and it won't.
Well, yeah, you did. Kathy Roth. Commissioner Roth, excuse me.
What I'd like to say is, I'm not sure I like to be known as something that's devouring. That's it kind of brings an evil connotation to my mind. But, I am excited about serving on the commission, and especially excited at being a researcher that I'm serving with, I believe, 3 people that have science degrees. And I'm always being accused of being someone who has a very strange sense of humor, and I hope that you get the joke. So, so that's about. Thank you.
If we don't, can we ask you, could you explain the joke to the Commissioner of the City for us?
Yeah.
I too am excited, and I wanted to thank my family and friends and all of the people that voted for me, and I am here to serve you, so let me know. You can always reach me. So I'm very excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Well, let me go back to the agenda. I believe I get to do something here. I get to say, if there's no other business, the commission meetings adjourned.